My tea is really hot today for some reason.
Well, this tea is really cold, but this tea is really hot. So I've got to work out how I pace this one out so I don't have a long break in between. Like I need to be able to drink.
How are they the same sort of tea, or have you got two different types of tea going? Or
No, well, I was halfway through this one when I got a message from you saying, "Hey, I'm ready to
oh,
record," and I'm like, "I better go get another one."
sorry.
That's all right.
We got home at 7:40. So we had to bath the kids, get them into bed. I had to do all of their school stuff, all of my work stuff, and clean the entire house and do prep for this. And then I'm just like, it's 9 o'clock. I need to record before I fall asleep. So
Yeah. So awesome. Well,
I
now the whole
apologize.
world knows that. Like,
And kids ruin everything. So
They do. Well, hey, Chloe. Hey, everybody. Glenn and Chloe here from Up Late. It's the little spin-off vodcast. Or let's call it a vodcast for now.
I love that.
You say it like it's not like a thing. Like,
Is it not?
Well, no, that's what we've been the whole time. We've just never said it.
Oh, I didn't even know that word existed. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we are the vodcast spin-off from the Good Movie Monday podcast. And if you like your podcast, go back to Monday and have a listen to that one, because we talked about Hitchcockian movies, so movies that are similar to Hitchcock or owe a debt of gratitude to Hitchcock, and that was a whole lot of fun. Malzy was on the desk, so good to have her back as well.
Bloody legend.
Which, whenever Malzy's on the desk, that means that the Fireball whiskey is flowing, and it was certainly, we almost went through a whole bottle, and it was great.
Wow, good on you.
Yes, so how's things going? How's your week been? All that kind of stuff?
Just perfect, just absolutely killing it.
Yep.
As per usual, just living large,
Living large. Just fucking, just spitballing words out of the...
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Are you living
delirious,
large?
I think. Oh, living large, little on the edge,
On the edge. On the edge. Well, you're not double bagging like I am, so maybe not as quite on the edge.
How many times do we have to have this conversation? I do double bag. I just don't leave them in there.
It's becoming a theme of the show. I'm just trying to get some running jokes, guys. It's fine.
Okay.
Are you sure there's not Fireball in there? Because I know it takes a bit to deal with me sometimes.
Tequila.
Yeah. Tequila. I will note that I was going to wear my Geelong Guernsey onto the show today, but I didn't want to gloat,
Well, it's funny because when you go back and listen to Monday's show, Melzy is talking about Collingwood, because she's a Collingwood supporter, and I made the quip that, well, at first you start talking about football, there goes half our audience. Then you mention Collingwood, there goes the other half.
We're left with no one. Absolutely zero.
But yes, our very dedicated listener, Mr. Owen, will be happy that we're talking a little bit about football, because he does do a football podcast as well.
Sure does.
So, well done to Geelong. It was a hair raiser. I'm a Tiger supporter. The week before, or the few nights before, that was also a hair raiser. Went in the other direction to what your outcome was. But
congrats. I kind of wish I had filmed me watching it, because this podcast loves its reaction videos, and that would have been a reaction video for the Times, even though it's got nothing to do with movies. It would have been quite entertaining. There was a lot of couch jumping. I was a few beers deep, so it was
awesome.
It was a good one, but yeah.
I felt it for you. I was definitely rooting for the Cats, so well done. And it's final season, everyone, so I guess the next couple of weeks, if Geelong perform, then you're going to hear more about
Sorry, guys.
Which is fine. That's fine.
We can be movie fans and football fans too, Glenn, okay?
Of course you can. I don't know if you've scrolled through any of my personal TikTok account videos, but there's a great reaction video of my wife, Melissa, watching the Tigers and reacting. It's priceless.
I'm going to go back and look at that.
She's vocal, but more like a
perfect. Are there any good like Australian football movies.
Yeah, so you've got The Club with Jack Nicholson, which is all about the Collingwood Football Club. It's a great movie. Yeah, no, but don't worry about the Collingwood aspect of it. It's the politics behind it. So it's
Right.
all about club management. They've got that actor. Oh shit, I think his name. Oh shit, I've lost his name. It's not John Woods, but he's a bit like that. Fuck. Anyway, famous Aussie actor who's kind of large. When he was in his 20s, he was very slender and quite built, and he played this hotshot footballer that the club wants to recruit, but he's asking too much money. And this movie, written by David Williamson, it just goes into the politics of the club. Jack Thompson's in it. It's great. So that's one.
I was going to say, did you say Jack Nicholson to begin with? Because I was quite impressed with that.
I did. I mean,
Jack
you did.
Thompson. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Jack Nicholson in a Collingwood movie. What?
Oh no, I said David Williamson wrote it.
Oh yeah, you probably did.
Anyway, whatevs. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
There's another one called, I think it's called Blinder.
Okay.
There's one called Australian Rules.
Because I know there's so many like American football movies. There's so many UK football movies, and I just don't think I've ever seen an Australian football movie.
There's a few. I think it's Australian Rules, which is the name of the movie. I think that's Nathan Phillips. That's a really good one.
Okay.
I think that's the name of it. Anyway, whatever the one he's in is really good. And then recently there was one called The Merger, which is a comedy. Like it's very similar to like the Nugget style of comedy.
Yes.
All about a regional football team. That's quite good. I thought that was charming. That took me by surprise. I like that one a lot. So yes, they are out there. So
they are out there. There you go.
Now that it's footy final season, just Google some AFL movies and you'll come across a few.
Something will pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Well, in other news, I went to the movies today.
Holy shit.
I know. We're getting better at it. Again, took the kids. We went to the V Junior, the Village Junior. They are getting so good at going to the movies now, and it is such a nice experience. We did start off quite rocky and it was quite tricky, even though we were in the Village Junior. But they are just, they have it hands down these days. They're just bloody brilliant. And we actually just got to sit back and relax, and it was wonderful.
Awesome. And what did you see?
We saw Super Pets.
Super Pants. I thought you were going to say you saw The Orphan First Kill. That would have been an interesting one.
If we had watched that, my children would not be asleep right now, and we wouldn't be not having this conversation.
Or they would have ideas.
Yeah, or that too. I'm already convinced one of them's a serial killer and is going to, shovel me when I'm older. But we saw it. It was cute. It was a very cute movie. Dwayne Johnson and what's his face, the little dude, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Again. But it was cute. It was the kids really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good one.
Just a good family film. I think it's quite easy for a lot of people, particularly if you don't have kids, to look at these movies and diss them. Like, oh fuck, that Kevin Hart film, that rock film. But try having a family experience with those movies, and it's entirely different. You'll appreciate these things so much more when you watch your kids engage with these kind of things. So some of the best kids movies, if you were to judge them just as an adult looking at a movie, they're not great, but when you've got a family, it changes everything.
Oh, absolutely. And I know I've said this before, but it goes without saying that, the animators and the writers are taking into account parents these days. So there's a character in the movie, it's the turtle, and she swears throughout the entire movie, and it's bleeped out. And it killed me every single time, because I knew at least one of my children knew exactly what she was saying, even though it was bleeped out. And I just loved it. I thought that was just such a fun part of the experience. So I want more movie cinemas like Readings and whatever to get behind this V Junior and do this as well, because I think it was almost a sold out show today, and everyone just had a great time.
It's a gamble, I think, for a lot of cinema complexes to do and contemplate. Like, you really, really need to either go hard at it and invest everything you got, or don't do it at all. I think it's very precarious.
I think it's completely worth it. Half of the movies that come out these days are for kids.
Oh, I know.
And for parents going with the kids, it's so anxiety inducing. You want to get out and do something fun. You
Yeah,
don't want
I
to bother
think
other people.
I think the problem is it's all location as well. Like there are cinema complexes that just don't have that demographic, so they can't just put it in every complex because as the city evolves, the families move outwards, and you're in a good area for that kind of thing because a lot of families, particularly after the pandemic, have moved out.
Yeah.
Right. So those complexes.
Tell me about it.
No, but then you got those sort of inner suburbs that formerly had all the families in them, now don't. So they couldn't put these particular things in and attract the same kind of salary.
No, I'm not saying it needs to be adopted everywhere, but yeah, certainly it definitely needs to be adopted more than what it is now. Awesome. It would just make life a lot easier, and so we're not because I know I know a lot of people who just like walking on a plane with a kid. You see a kid, you internally sigh. So if we walk into a complex and it's specifically for kids, you can see all those adults are just happy. They're happy.
That's right. Yeah, it takes the anxiety off the parents. It takes the dread off the other parent or the other adults. Yeah, I get it. Completely get it.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway.
Moving on. Movie news. There's not a whole lot, but did you see the first photos of Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley for the new Beverly Hills Cop have landed, and they're just like paparazzi style, like from afar looking onto a set. It's not like official photos, but there are photos of him in his costume, getting into a car, walking.
I haven't seen those, but I have seen that they've added to the cast, and there's some interesting additions. I can't remember the names for the life
you
of
got
me now,
Joseph
but
Gordon-Levitt.
I have seen. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. I knew it was a white boy with brown hair.
Taylor Page. I'm excited. I've spoken about this sequel for a long time on the show, and it's a conversation I love to have. But I'm very excited. They're taking the Top Gun route in that Top Gun was called Top Gun Maverick. This one's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley. So it's not called Beverly Hills Cop 4, but that's Jerry Bruckheimer. He's just had the biggest hit of his career with the new Top Gun. So the first movie he's making after that is Beverly Hills Cop, and he's applied the same logic to the title.
Yeah, well, that's fair. If you got something that works, roll with it.
Well, that's right. And the fact that Beverly Hills Cop 4 is so ridiculed, and it was such a tank, like it was a real box office flop. So maybe adding the number to the next one's probably not the smartest thing if you want to get a new audience.
Yeah. I agree.
So, yeah.
I agree. And especially bringing in new audiences as well. If you're going to put 5 in it, that's going to exclude a lot of people as well. They're like, oh, well, I haven't seen the first 4, so I'm not going to bother. Whereas if you bring it in, it's a sequel, but it looks brand new. Yeah. Just like Top Gun, you're going to bring in that whole new younger audience as well.
And it will definitely have the element of being able to watch it without having the original to rely on. So you can watch it from fresh. But so I'm excited about that one. I also read, and I don't know much about this, but I read that Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd are both making a movie together, and it's called Zombie Town.
Wow.
Now, I mean, I don't like either of these actors anymore. Like
Chevy is just so politically, like, so far beyond politically incorrect these days. Like,
but that's
I can get behind some politically incorrect because I'm not offended by somebody looking at me sideways, but he just goes beyond these days, and I'm not sure I can get behind anything he does.
I don't even think that's it with him. Like, he's just maintained, like, language warning, he's maintained his cunt status all the way through his career. He's notorious as being one of the most difficult guys in Hollywood. Like, that is famous. That's that's knowledge that everybody knows, and he's not changed his tact, right, all through the decline years when he was making crappy made for television or DTV movies, all the way through The Community, which was his resurgence. He went and became big again, and yet he got fired from that show because he hadn't changed his tact. And so he is still the asshole that he was. I don't think he's changed at all, which makes me think he's not so much politically incorrect. It's just that he's no different. He's not evolved with the times.
Right.
But I've not liked him for a long time. I haven't liked him since maybe the mid-90s. And Dan Aykroyd, I've not had a lot of time for him for a very long time either, because I think he's a charlatan as well. I think he pulls the wool over a lot of people's eyes, that guy, and just spruiks products these days. He doesn't actually create a lot of good stuff.
I definitely prefer Aykroyd over Chase.
So
in terms of watching them on the screen.
Okay, so going back to when they were both in their heyday, at their best, you preferred Aykroyd over Chase?
Oh yeah, yep.
Really?
I've always preferred Aykroyd over Chase.
Wow. No,
yeah.
I'll take the other road. That's okay. We can just sort of drive parallel to each other. These roads connect at one point in time, but otherwise, because they made Spies Like Us together, I think.
Okay.
Which was a fun movie, but yeah, that's interesting.
It'll be very interesting to see because they are getting on. So, depending on how this pans out, it'll be very interesting.
I know. Let's just see if that even comes to fruition. I just saw it as a headline. I didn't click through to it or anything because I was just busy.
Fair enough. Tell me. One more thing. Tell me you watched the trailer.
Tell me I watched the trailer. Now, this may as well be a trivia question that I will not get because I'm thinking, what fucking trailer is she talking about right
Come on. Tell me you watched the Weird Al Yankovic trailer.
Oh, yes, I have.
Tell me, what do you think? I'm interested. You're still not sure, really?
I'm not sold on it. I mean, it reeks of direct to streaming. Like, it does not feel theatrical at all to me.
It feels Yankovic. That's what it feels like.
It's definitely a piss take. Right? So it's not his biography.
No, for sure.
Let's put that out there, right? I like the fact he's in the trailer. Like Yankovic plays a record executive in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I just think Daniel Radcliffe is the most miscast person for this role. He doesn't even put on a voice when he's talking to sound like Weird Al Yankovic, and yet they use Weird Al Yankovic's voice for the music and the singing, and it just does not gel for me in the trailer.
I feel that everything that they have done in this movie, from what I've seen from the trailer, has its purpose. I feel like everything is very how it was wanted to be.
I think you give it too much credit. Are you going to be able to watch this movie? Are you going to be able to watch this movie, dislike it, and admit that it was bad, or have you come so far into backing it that you're going to just say, no, that was good?
Have you ever known me to do that?
No, I haven't, but there are people that do that. They back themselves in so hard that they can't sort of backstep.
No. From the bits and pieces I had seen, from the news outlet that I'd heard, and now from the trailer, I'm thinking I am going to really enjoy it.
Cool.
I'm not going to say it's going to be my favorite movie of all time and it's blown me out of the water and it's brilliant. I'm going to say that it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. And I feel like everything's going to have its purpose in that movie. Sure. Everything is very, what's the word I'm trying to use? It's very on the nose for what Yankovic wants.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, let's just bide our time and wait and see, because my suspicion is I will enjoy it, but I will just take issue with the casting. Let's play some games. What games?
You leave my man alone. All right. Okay, so I've pretty much got trivia.
Oh, okay. I've got some trivia, and I've got a bit of everything. So we can start with trivia. That's a good place to do it.
All right. Well, my first one I have is a what movie am I? So shall we go for that one, or?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah? Okay. All right, let's start with... all right, so this movie was created by a renowned comedy duo.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to start with.
Sure.
This movie almost got an NC-17 rating and had to be edited something like 9 more times before it reached an R rating, which is what the duo were aiming for.
Is this an Australian R rating or an American R rating?
I'm going to say probably a US.
So has it been released in Australia and does it have a rating here?
Yeah, it's an R rating in Australia.
Oh, then it is an R rating in Australia.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
The style of the movie is based heavily off a TV show that was made in the mid-60s.
Is it Zack and Miri Make a Porno?
No.
Okay. Not that that's a comedy duo, but yep, go
on. The footage of this film was shown at a 2004 San Diego Comic-Con with the tagline, George Clooney, Alec Baldwin, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins, Michael Moore, George Bush, and Kim Jong-il will all hate this movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
My mind is going in, I think, the right direction, but the comedy duo part has got me stumped.
Did you want to take a stab in the dark, or do you want me to keep reading out?
Comedy duo from 2004.
Which, keep in mind, that's almost like 20 years ago.
I know. It's not Penn and Teller?
No.
All right, keep going.
All right, this is going to give it away. The MPAA said that when they gave the movie the R rating, it was because of, in quotes, graphic, crude, and sexual humor, violent images, and strong language, all involving puppets.
Yes. Fuck me.
Yeah. Or America.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
America, fuck. That's where you got me, because I don't see Trey Parker and Matt Stone as a comedy duo. Like, even though they are.
Come on.
No, I don't, because they don't. A comedy duo to me does live sketch, that kind of stuff. They don't.
A comedy duo is a duo that's involved in comedy.
Yeah, no, I concede that. If you listen to my words and actually, what I'm saying, I understand that. It's not where my mind was going. Oh, you caught one. There you go. It's a big one too.
Oh gosh. Anyway, Team America World Police. Fucking hell, I loved that movie when it came out.
See, I will tell you right now what completely sidetracked me on that is that it's MA in Australia, not R. So the second you said yes, it's R in Australia, I'm like, okay, now what's an R-rated movie? Can't be Team America. Not that I thought that, but like it wouldn't have been on my radar because
surely it's an R rating in Australia.
I can pull it out. It's on my shelf there somewhere. It's MA.
Really?
Yeah.
That just shows you how hardcore Australians are.
Well, don't forget.
We will fuck with the dictator of a country and only slap an MA on it.
Well, the dictator, and then you've got the one with James Franco in it and Seth Rogen. That was MA. That were MA. But don't forget, an R rating in America is an MA in Australia.
So what constitutes an R in Australia? Like, you have to actually fucking murder somebody on the bloody...
It's all contextual. So it depends on the criteria. Is all on the context of the film. So you will have a quota of like F-bombs that you can say. There will be a quota of nudity or sex or violence. But there's also some movies that get an R rating simply because the tone of it is, which then becomes a question of personal opinion when it comes to a rating board and the people that do it. Don't forget, ratings are determined in Australia by a handful of people.
Right.
Watch the movies, right? Ben and I do have this discussion quite a lot, and he knows a hell of a lot about the rating system because he has to apply to get films classified for his job.
Right.
So, for example, Monster Pictures released Father's Day, the Astron 6 film, a few years ago that got denied classification because of one particular scene in the film, which is the best scene in the entire film. It's like the showcase of the movie. It's like you watch it because of that, and they had to remove it for the Aussie release. And yet other places in the world, it passed the grade because it just all depends on context in that country and the person that's doing the classifying. Yeah.
Wow. So they wouldn't classify that movie, which means it couldn't be released, or they had to remove that scene?
They had to remove that scene to get it released.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to look more into that, because that's very interesting to me, because that seems mainly opinion based.
But I don't particularly think there's any reason Team America should be R rated in Australia. I think it is an MA movie. The only logic I can apply to it for argument of an R rating would be just you don't want kids accidentally watching it.
Right.
Right? So you don't want...
And I still kind of consider a 15-year-old a kid.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, but a 15-year-old does shit that their parents have no idea what they're doing. Like, they're doing R-rated stuff. That's the thing, like, when you're a teenager, right? They are.
I wasn't. I was an angel. You don't know me.
Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Otherwise,
Okay.
time talking. We've got 5 minutes left.
All right, a little bit more trivia. Go.
What was the first Disney movie to screen in IMAX? And this is Disney animated film to screen in IMAX.
Fantasia? 2000.
Yes.
Hey!
Good one. There you go.
Wow.
See, you can answer them quickly when you know we're on a time frame here. Like
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right. Who was
get them all wrong.
Who was the only actor to receive an Oscar nom for the Lord of the Rings movies?
Oh yeah, Oscar nomination for Lord of the Rings.
The only actor to receive an Oscar nom.
Yeah. Was it? I mean, I'm gonna say Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Oh, moving through it. All right, nice one.
There you go. We're feeling smart tonight.
Here's one just for you. So, in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, members of the bands Pulp and Radiohead, that's Jarvis Cocker and Johnny Greenwood, play the band.
Mm-hmm.
The play.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the original band supposed to be?
Oh, fuck, I know this. It was meant to be like the Foo Fighters or something. No, not the Foo Fighters.
You're so close, you know, when it comes to the name of the band being 2 words starting with F.
Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
I actually knew that. I think I read that not that long ago, and I was going to put it on my list to ask you. So cool. There you go.
They're very Hogwartsy sounding.
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah,
I did read that. All right. What was the first movie to ever cross the $2 billion mark?
Oh, is that the end of the question?
Well, it's a 2-part question, but that's the first part.
Across the $2 billion mark. Okay, so that's a recent-ish one, like last 5 years?
No.
Oh, right.
The first movie to ever cross the $2 billion mark. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure Jurassic Park brought in $66 billion.
Yeah, but that's not 200 billion.
No, $2 billion.
Oh, 2 billion. 2 billion. I thought you said 200 billion. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Okay.
No.
It's got to be Spielberg or Lucas or Cameron.
Yep.
Spielberg?
No.
Cameron?
Yep.
Avatar?
Yep.
Nice.
And which movie eventually surpassed that mark 10 years later? So it took 10 years for another movie to knock it.
Top Gun?
No.
It was something recently though, wasn't it? Like 10 years puts it in the last 3 or 4?
I don't know what year this movie came out, but it was recentish, but not that recent, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I really can't comprehend what would be bigger in the.
It probably wouldn't stick into your mind because you don't particularly like this type of movie.
But that doesn't mean I don't know. Like, I know all about movies I don't like. Just tell me.
Avengers Endgame.
Of course it is. Because I was so pissed off at the time.
Yeah, so the first ever movie to cross over 2 billion was Avatar, and then 10 years later, Avengers Endgame knocked it off its pedestal.
Yeah.
And then it's all just been fucking going mad ever since.
What was the first to cross 200 billion?
200 billion? Do you know that? I don't know that.
It doesn't exist.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it was a stupid thing to say. All right, what do we got?
You can recognize.
All right, I got a couple. We'll just stick with the trivia, I think, because we haven't got time for anything else.
Go for it.
Which A-list actor was fired from Peter Jackson's The Lovely Bones and replaced with Mark Wahlberg?
Oh. Is he still big now?
Yeah. In fact, he's about to have a good couple of years.
Good couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a white boy?
Yep. As white as they get.
As white as they get. He was super popular. He is super popular. He's about to have a good couple of years. I want to say like maybe like Chris Evans.
No.
Is he like a macho man like that?
He fluctuates between punsy and macho.
Punsy and macho.
I would say, and what he's about to hit the screen with kind of teeters right in between both.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, all close.
Ryan.
Gosling.
Why am I Gosling? You
Yeah.
can't call Ryan Gosling punsy. Who are
You sure?
you?
You certainly can. Very weedy. He's films 10, 15 years ago. I'd definitely say punsy.
No.
Notebook and yeah, fucking oath.
That's not punsy. How dare you? How
is.
dare you? The Notebook is a terrible movie, but you still can't call him punsy.
It is a terrible movie. I do like him a lot, I must say, but there you go. So
There you
Lovely
go.
Bones was originally him, and he got fired just simply because he wasn't the right fit for the character. They were filming, I think they got like 4 or 5 days into shooting, and Peter Jackson's like, this is not working, let's just recast
Yeah, well,
it.
fair enough. Good on him, because that's hard to do. He did the same thing with Lord of the Rings with Aragon as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I kind of can imagine Stuart Townsend doing the Aragon, because I think he's an actor that I think is very undervalued and underutilized. So it would have been interesting to have him in it. It's hard to see now.
Interesting, but
because you know what's his name? Is it Sean Bean? Is so iconic. Not Sean Bean.
Viggo
Mortensen is so iconic in the role now that you can't see anyone else in it. But I reckon the other one was Christopher Lee. Really, really, really wanted to play the Gandalf role.
Yeah. But I think in the end, Peter's casting was almost perfect. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with the casting. I don't think Christopher Lee was ever a consideration for it, simply because he spent 5 decades being the villain in movies. So you just can't suddenly make him the good guy, particularly when you've got a really sinister looking face.
He plays such a good bad guy, though. You know, like it's like he was made for that. Kind of like Alan Rickman. I really kind of struggled to see him as anything other than a bad guy after Harry Potter and Hans Gruber and all that kind of stuff, and even in Love Actually, when he was that grumpy old man, he ended up cheating on Emma Thompson. I wanted to smack him. So you have your niche, and if it works, it works.
You really show your age when you reference people like Alan Rickman and you say Harry Potter before Die Hard. Because you did it last week on something, and I'm like, oh, Chloe, come on. Who was it last week? I
can't help it that I'm so young.
It was Billy Bob Thornton and Bad Santa last week, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that guy was like cast in that movie because he was so big. Come on.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. But you got to remember where I started and movies that I started with as well. So,
well, do you know what I have to say about that? And this is not like directed at you, but I hear this said quite often in film circles where they're like, well, there's a bit of age difference between us, or the reason that is because you were of that generation. It's like, yeah, but I have the same kind of thoughts and knowledge of actors that were 30 years before me as well. Like, Gregory Peck or fucking Jimmy Stewart. Like, I've got the same knowledge of what they've done as I would.
I think
a modern actor.
Your movie personality is all rounder. You have a love for everything. Whereas when I was growing up, I had a love for like a very sort of particular type of movie because of how they made me feel. And that's what I kind of stuck to, and that's what I knew. And I didn't kind of venture out of that until a lot later in my life. So I was exposed to like these people a little bit later than most people, I think, is why.
It's
I'm not trying to play up my ignorance, but that's kind of where I was.
That's fair enough. But then you will quite often throw in references to movies from the 60s and 50s and whatnot.
Yeah.
That you're quite knowledgeable of these things as well. So it's just sort of, you're an enigma, Chloe.
I know. I've got to keep you guessing. I want to end tonight also on a really great note.
Okay.
And this blew me out of the water, right? My 10-year-old sister, I was over at my parents' place for surprise, we're not filming on Wednesday, for Father's Day today. Sorry to blow the facade. And my sister came up to my mum and she's like, Mum, just hold on, take me seriously for 1 second. I want you to tell me to shut up. Just as a joke, just as a joke. Tell me to shut up. And Mum's like, okay, shut up. And she goes, when I shut up, I throw up. And when I look at you, I throw up. Oh, she said that. And it just made me so happy. And she's only 10. And I just, even if I didn't love her beforehand, I loved her in that very moment. And I just wanted to end it on that note. It was just so lovely.
There you go. See, she's better than you because she has the knowledge of stuff that was before her time. See?
She likes to think she's better than me, but she's not. Okay.
Well, we all know no one's better than you, so.
Stop.
All right, I'm going to throw up. So let's say goodnight, and we'll see everyone next week for another
good night, Gracie.
episode of Throw Up Late Glenn and Chloe.
Oh, what was that? Bye, friends.
We're done.